Hi, everyone. Welcome to Young and Hungry. I'm Nat Bush and joined by Sean Grunman, my colleague.
Thanks for having me on, Nat.
Yeah, so we're going to spend this episode just talking about the NBA All-Star Game, some of the marketing and branding initiatives around the game itself and the weekend.
Yeah, it was a great game, fun to watch. I mean, the All-Star Game is always a good time. Not really a lot of defense being played, but you always get to see those efficient scorers just dropping dimes. However they want to do it, they're able to score in so many different ways.
Yeah, and I think that's why this is my favorite All-Star game out of the Big Four, is you get some of the best athletes on the planet really going out there and making it fun, scoring in ways that you don't really see because the defense isn't the emphasis of the game.
Mm-hmm.
A play that stood out to me is one that Steph Curry bounced it and Giannis caught it for the alley-oop. That was
pretty awesome. And Kyrie Irving and LeBron James, just a nice alley-oop throwback a little bit a couple years ago. That was good to watch too. That was fun. I mean, the score was 178 to 164, so it was lots of scoring going on.
Very high scoring game. Fun to watch. I think there was 2 quarters where they scored over 50 points. A team did. So
it's pretty crazy.
They're putting numbers on the board.
Halftime show was good too. J. Cole, I thought he did a good job. What do you think about him compared to Maroon 5?
I much prefer J. Cole. I think he did a great job, and J. Cole being from the Carolinas, kind of having that hometown feel with Charlotte was a nice collaboration.
Yeah.
And one big thing about the weekend is really putting Charlotte on the map. It's not necessarily your large city. So they had to work around that with coming up with creative ways and how they could, market the game. And one of the ways they did that was build an epicenter outside of the Spectrum Center.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a full-blown dining and entertainment complex that they built just kind of for the weekend. Expected to get about 50,000 fans on board or passing through and interacting with it.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean, why don't you tell me about, some of the branding aspects of it and some companies that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of the epicenter was to create kind of this convergence of the NBA and pop culture, which is, I mean, something that's really going on, especially in the NBA these days. It's definitely the sport that's taking pop culture most into account, and through music, fashion, and other things like technology, bringing on different ways to integrate these kind of pop culture aspects into the game. They're doing a great job of it. I think Budweiser Live, they own the top floor of the epicenter, or they are the title sponsor of it. And so they did a music event with French Montana and Rich the Kid. I thought that was great. And they also they had NBA legends Dominique Wilkins and Ron Harper show up. So that was cool. I'm sure awesome. The fans loved that one. Yeah. It would have been awesome to kind of get to interact with them, get to watch some great music right there. And it's awesome. I was just right there. It was like right across the street from the Spectrum Center.
Yeah,
so.
And I think, that makes sense to bridge the gap of entertainment and music, and Budweiser I think did a good job. Another one that stood out to me was Express. They had a little dress like a pro section where you could come up and try on different outfits and get pictures and share them. Right. I think it builds off of the NBA being such an icon for fashion. You got the Russell Westbrooks. LeBron.
I mean, if we could all dress like Russell, that'd be awesome. Huh?
That would be.
I actually went and checked out some of the clothes they had on Express, the official
dress like pro
NBA categories. And they have some pretty interesting stuff. They got like a suave jacket that has a Golden State Warrior on the inside, so it's only when you take it off. It looks pretty sweet. I would have to check it out, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. And in addition to Express and Budweiser, there was 18 other brands sponsoring in this and getting interactions in this epicenter. Now, one brand that kind of stood out to me over the course of the weekend was Ruffles. So for the Celebrity All-Star Game, which was on Friday night, they had a 4-point line that was branded by Ruffles.
It's actually the second year they did that. Last year, they only did it for, I think it was the second half of the game, but this year they brought it back in full force. And they added a charity aspect to it, which I thought was really awesome. They basically, so for every shot made behind the 4-point line, Ruffles donated $4,000 to foster environments of inclusion in sports and in a partnership with the Special Olympics. So that was a really awesome thing that they did, a great great partnership that they had there with the Olympics or the Special Olympics. I really love what Ruffles did.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I loved it from a branding aspect, kind of having the shape of the 4-point line be kind of like the ruffle and have that design to it, but also the charitable aspect, because I think, sports, that's a big reason, is giving back to communities and raising money for, causes that matter, like the Special Olympics. So fantastic partnership there, especially centered around maybe not the biggest aspect of All-Star Weekend, being the Celebrity All-Star Game, but still making an impact in the game.
Who knows? Maybe the 4-point line is going to be added to the NBA someday soon. They're shooting from so far back
They
at this
are.
point. You're going to have to add something new in there.
I mean, some of the shots they were taking in the game were from the logo.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost approaching half court.
The 3-point line didn't used to be there. Who knows? Maybe the 4-point line is going to come into effect the next couple of seasons.
Maybe we'll have to kind of.
Steph Curry's going to have to pioneer that one.
Speaking of Steph Curry, kind of transitioning out of NBA All-Star Weekend, but more into partnerships around the NBA. Steph Curry and the Warriors are in the news recently. The Golden State Warriors just partnered with Google Cloud for coming in collaboration with their new Chase Center that they're opening in San Francisco in September. So that's an interesting one because Google is pretty selective in who they, choose to partner with. And obviously with it being in Silicon Valley, Golden State Warriors seems like a perfect fit. The momentum of the championship team,
right.
Kind of being the leader, as Google is kind of the leader in the technology space.
It's just following along the same path of integrating technology and pop culture, doing the data analytics, so they're basically going to be able to crunch numbers on not only the player's style, but the shots they're taking and everything they're doing, so they can actually get result or information on how to improve their game on the court. Not only that, they're also getting scouting reports. This data is going to be able to, or this partnership, the Google Cloud is going to be able to crunch numbers on scouting reports, and so actually help with recruiting moving forward for that too. And then the last aspect is there's going to be an app that the fans could actually interact with too, which I think is really interesting. They're going to be able to go in and see the data analytics and all the kind of really interesting data points that you don't kind of get to see. And it's really interesting. I mean, it's taking on the same mode as the MLB did.
Yeah.
Whatever, almost 2 decades ago when they really started diving into data analytics. I can see NBA taking on a very similar approach soon.
Yeah, and I think they've kind of started to do that. And the aspects of this partnership are similar to some that you see with Amazon Web Service in the NFL or SAP and Team Liquid, where they're using these technology entities to help them with the process of getting the stats and really getting more information to making those decisions. Yeah. And then while we're on this topic of Steph Curry and the Warriors, he announced that with partnering with Facebook to do a 6-episode series, documentary series about Steph Curry's life and basketball. So another technology partner getting involved with a Golden State Warrior.
Yeah, I mean, I love Steph Curry. I think he's a really awesome individual. Says that they're claiming to have a really deep dive into his life, some unseen footage from his childhood. I'm interested to see what kind of how bad he was hooping back in the day. I'm sure it was off the chain.
I'm sure they got some funny videos of him and Seth back in the day, little ones shooting 3-pointers.
Definitely.
That kind of wraps up everything we have. Kind of gives you guys a good insight into the NBA All-Star Game, what some companies and brands are doing to try and integrate with the space, and how some tech partners are getting involved with the Golden State Warriors and in that capacity as well. One last question,
oh boy,
trivia question for you, Sean.
I have not done well on these so far.
This All-Star Game set the record for most 3-pointers attempted in a game. What was that?
In an All-Star game or
in an All-Star game or an NBA game? Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense. They almost scored over 300 points. So.
I'm pretty sure these days on average is like around 30. So I'm going to have to say, I want to say 40, but I don't want to go too big, but I'm going to go with 42.
42 3-pointers attempted.
Yes.
The actual answer was
between both teams.
Between both teams.
Let me retry. Let me try.
Go 84?
I'm actually going to drop it a little bit. I'll go 78.
78. Okay. The actual answer was 168.
Oh, what?
168 3-pointers attempted in this All-Star game, which kind of, speaks to the trends of how the NBA is moving with higher scoring, more 3-pointers, but really remarkable that they attempted that many 3-point shots.
That's insane. I'm almost positive an average game is like 30 per team, 30 shots, and they make about 11 or 12. So it's 160.
I can tell you it's definitely not 85 for the average team. But
I guess it's All-Star weekend.
It's All-Star weekend.
Want. Ball out, boy.
You're on the biggest scene. You might as well be shooting and trying to score. Exactly. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.